Housing rents surge. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heiser here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to talk about the surge in rents that seems to be occurring in many parts of Australia. Now, I'm hearing stories from friends, anecdotal evidence that housing is going up. Even my mother, a colleague or neighbour, really, in her complex, was looking to move and trying to find a place, and it was, $450 for a little two-bedder down on the Gold Coast there. And, another friend on the Gold Coast as well, rent went up $150 a week. Was talking to a neighbour here in Brisbane. Put an offer in on a place. They said offered to pay 4 months rent in advance, and they said, no, we'll wait for a better offer. So I'm hearing these anecdotes that rent is going up, going higher and higher and higher. And we're starting to see it in the media and in some of the data. Now, before we go through this News.com article, which is talking about it, let's have a look at the current asking rental prices. Now, we can see here this is in Melbourne. Now, Melbourne rents are apparently going down as of May. The all houses is at $505 a week. This is asking rents. Units are down. A lot of them are inner city. All units down to $361, and we've seen that. Some people are moving into other places in the same building. Have a look here. Look at the spike in places that's been on the market for under 30 days. Look at that surge. I wonder how many of those are, units flooding the market now. That's why we're seeing the decline in prices. Here's the difference between units and houses, everyone, in Melbourne. So Melbourne's going down, but Sydney, if we look at Sydney, okay, it kind of, went down and is slowly creeping back up again for all houses, and units have went down, and they seem to be flat to slowly increasing as well. We can see here, this is the vacancy rate in Sydney, and it's crept down to 3.1%. And if we go here, you can see how, again, the amount of stock under 30 days, it's climbed. So from just 2018 to 2020, the total amount on the market has increased too, and the amount that's been there for 30 days has gone up. This is showing you as well, the units versus houses, guys. It's the units are driving it. And now let's look at Brisbane. So Brisbane, we can see houses going up. All houses, $493. 3-bedders, 460 units have gone up from December as well. They're approaching $390, going up to $400. We can see, look at the vacancy rates here in Brisbane, 1.4%, everyone. So it's getting harder and harder to find something. And this is what's on the market. See, so Brisbane, very different to Melbourne. Where Melbourne, they've got a surge of stock. We don't up here. And many are arguing that that's because you have a lot of the southerners are moving up to Queensland to get away from, Danistan, among many things. And I don't blame them. The weather's great here. My family, we moved up from Victoria. They've got this thing here that Victorians may not be familiar with. It's called sunshine. And it comes out more often than once a year. I remember it actually snowed once in Coldstream, where I live, in Victoria. You get all seasons in one day. I'm not surprised that the Europeans are going there. So that's what we're seeing just from the data. And let's have a look at what this article is telling us. And then I did a viewer poll to get your experience on that. And we'll go to that after this. So let's have a look at what Rebecca Lee May has written. Regional residential property rents surge. We're seeing that even in the cities. Up almost threefold on capital city market rises. 3 times. There's fierce competition for rental property in Australia's regions, with the average asking price in one area climbing to $620 a week. Now, I don't care how wealthy you are. $620, that's decent coin. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of food. That's almost, that's a quarter of a beast right there, because that's how we have to measure everything in the economy, is how much of a cow you can get at the butchers from it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that measures everything like that. It's not smokes, it's beef. The cost of renting property in Australia's regions jumped by almost 3 times as much as the capital city markets over the past year, with renewed domestic tourism potentially a factor in pushing up prices, new data shows. So could this be people trying to get, Airbnbs out in the region, not just the green change? CoreLogic's latest report revealed rent estimates for all regional properties surged by 9.2% in the 12 months to April, compared with 3.3% in capital cities. The group's Eliza Owen described the price growth as remarkable and the tightening of regional rental markets as extraordinary, with listings in the 25 regions CoreLogic analyzed halving over the period on average. Oh boy. The average time a rental property spent on the market in these regions contracted from 25 days in the 3 months to April to 17 days in the 1 month of April. So, I mean, good for you if you're renting out property. They're fantastic. Now's the time. Now's the time to make hay. The strongest regional markets included the Richmond Tweed area in New South Wales, where the year-on-year median asking weekly rent spiked 17.6% to $590. And Central Queensland and the Sunshine Coast, where the jump was respectively 15.3% to $340 and 15% to $550. Now, I could see, Sunny Coast and Tweed, yeah, they're both lovely areas, and I can see people wanting to get out of the city and thinking, yeah, we'll do a green change there. We're still close enough to Brisbane to be able to drive in if we need to. I mean, you could even do it once a week and rent a place cheap in the city and live for the rest, for a few nights there. I know people that do that. I know people that commute down from Noosa, stay in an apartment and live up there. Kind of the best of both worlds. Particularly now with apartments more affordable. Well, not in Brisbane. The most expensive asking rents were in the Southern Highlands and Shoalhaven areas of New South Wales at $620, up 13.2%. The data suggests that tenants are having to compete harder for rental accommodation in major regional centres, both in terms of their wallet and the pace of their decision-making, Miss Owen said. More severe consequences of the recent tightening of rental market include housing stress and homelessness. And we've seen that. We've seen the Tweed Council complain that they've got a housing emergency, although they were aware of it for years and haven't really done anything to address it. So, it's councils, guys. Miss Owen said the sea and tree change, exodus of people escaping the cities in the September and December quarter, was potentially skewed to higher income workers, given remote work tending to be concentrated in the knowledge economy, which would put further upward pressure on property sales and rent prices. This is the two-speed economy we have here in Australia, guys. This is how it's manifesting. I mean, that's it. You want to, not everyone can work remotely. A shelf packer can't work remotely. A forklift driver can't work remotely yet. I know there's some mine drivers who are working remotely, but still. But over the whole of calendar year 2020, there was actually less migration to regional areas from cities, 233,000, than the previous year of 233,700. Okay, we're talking 600 difference. Miss Owen speculated a trend that could have recently tightened the regional rental market was the reconversion of short-term rental accommodation that had anecdotally been turned into long-term rentals at the onset of the pandemic when travel and tourism abruptly ceased. With domestic travel restrictions eased, such properties are likely to have been reconverted to the short-term rental market, she said. The data also showed combined regional dwelling sales prices grew at 13% in the 12-month to April, dwarfing the rise of 6.4% in the capital cities. So it looks like the regions are copying it, guys, and I can't say anyone will be surprised from what we've been hearing in the news and what people have been saying. Now let's have a look at this viewer poll, everyone, as I have a shot of coffee. And since I snapped this last night, we're up another 100 votes, which hasn't really changed. Oh, it's slightly changed. So I'm going to have a shot of coffee and we'll go through this and your comments, everyone. So for those of you that are, and we'll go news first. For those of you that haven't commented on one of these polls, you can see them by going to the community tab on the channel. And I should be able to bring that up here. If we go to your channel. Can you tell I'm playing Undertale at the moment with the kids? It's a great game. So if you click here on community, you can see the polls and vote on different things. And whatever I'm asking, I will usually explain in an episode in the next few days. This poll that we're looking at here, I actually asked before the article came out, because I had a sense that this was going to hit the news. So I've been hearing anecdotal stories that rents are going insane at the moment. How are you finding renting right now? So 57% said renting is getting very expensive and hard to find. 28% said renting is staying the same. I always get typos in this because I quickly chuck it on the phone. I really should. It really should be better, but that's part of it. You got to rough and ready. Renting is getting cheaper at 16%. So the majority are saying that renting is getting very expensive. 28% saying it's staying the same, and 16% are saying it's getting cheaper. And let's have a look at some of the comments people have said. Heiser is getting more shilly was not an option. Okay, now I know that's a bit of a pun, but really peak shilling on YouTube, that you need to get mobile gaming or a dodgy crypto scam. That's what you need to get. Anecdotal stories like fairy tales, imaginary or imagined. Why don't you research rents? Yeah, I'm just doing that, mate. Okay. Anecdotal stories. Well, I think people are shocked at how much is based on anecdotes. How many of the unnamed sources that reporters are mentioning, how do you know that's not all anecdotes, guys? All I know is my mortgage is less than rent for the same property, my name and my last name, and I don't think they're alone. It's ridiculous here in Melbourne. Unless you want to live in the middle of the city, sardine cans are cheaper. Nowhere else is. The Observer. My rent has been $240 a week for the last 8 years in Northcote, Victoria. So, what are these names you got? Pick right normal names, come on. As a landlord of a bunch of properties, I don't see the need for rent prices to go up. The cash is cheap at the moment, and it should be passed on. However, when cash becomes more expensive, then not being able to have the buffer of income staying in line with what I need to pay the banks could mean disaster for me, but at the moment, everything seems well. So they're worried about increasing interest rates and being put to the edge. RT. Once evictions start, rents will come down and property prices. But government won't allow that, saying emergency measures are in place. Biggest financial fraud happening right under our nose in the narrative of the pandemic. Or will we get rent keeper? Joe has no idea, he doesn't rent. Michelle's garden. Dad sold his house recently to move into a unit. It was hard to get a unit too. The people that bought Dad's put it on the rental market 5 days after settlement. Less than 7 days later, a family moved in at $450 a week. It was in a cheap... it was in a capital city. If it was in a capital city, it would bring $700 a week. Or maybe more if it was closer to CBD. I've talked to people recently that are paying ridiculous high amounts for simply terrible houses. The landlord should be ashamed. Should they? I mean, where's the shame in making money? There's nothing wrong with making money, everyone. If that's what the market is willing to pay, that's what it is. You shouldn't feel shame for making money. You should feel shame if you're conning people. If you're, like these people doing these dodgy crypto scams. You hear the latest one? All the rug pulls and where people are absconding with their money. I guess it's a hard lesson some people need to learn. But if you've worked hard to get a property, you've managed to get into it, you don't be ashamed of making money from it. Our house in Alder needs some renos done, but we own it and our repayments were never like what people are paying to rent. Well, that's a good point too. I mean, this is gonna make it even harder for people to scrape together a deposit to get into property. So what'll happen? Deposit keeper anyway? We already got 2% deposits. Who am I kidding? Bonnie, lucky I got into a low-cost housing in a shitty town. Jeremy, look at population movement, where people are moving to. Real estate prices and rents are up, where they're leaving the opposite. He's right. We're seeing this in Melbourne. Melbourne, rents are going down. We saw it in the data. People are coming up to Queensland. Luke, Tasmania is very hard to find rentals and prices are high. It's becoming ridiculous here. Well, he should be happy because he's just finished his 2 rental properties that he's built. Good luck to him. So I always remember, though, I worked for a firm that had a Tasmanian office, and I was always quite jealous of how cheap the housing was in Tasmania, particularly around Lonnie. And, you could get a place under 200 grand, a nice little house. Yeah, not anymore. I'd probably just aged myself with that comment. D. Berg, rents in the Gold Coast have gone up $50 because every old person from Sydney and Melbourne have decided to retire here and turn it into a retirement village. Well, okay, mate, Gold Coast. And this is from someone who went to most of my primary school and high school from the Gold Coast, from Miami High. It is a retirement village, okay? It is a retirement village. Either, people on holiday, people retiring. What jobs are there? It's all servicing the tourism sector. Sure, you got Movie World and a few businesses there, but even all the architects were just working for developers, putting up dodgy, weird-ass looking buildings everywhere. So, yeah, it's a retirement village, sorry. Why do you think we settled in Brisbane? Bram. Currently renting 2 places in Perth. Got a 4-bedroom place 5 minutes out of the Fero for $350 a week, and a 3-bedroom place in Rivervale 10 minutes out of Perth for $150 a week. What? That's insane. Geelong was tight heading into 2020. From Maximus. Very much the same, but huge spike in sales prices down here over the last 3 years. Sean. In my area in Melbourne, rent is staying the same. I've noticed as we're looking to move nearby, many places are struggling to find tenants and are being forced to reduce prices. This is what we're seeing in Melbourne, guys, that the rents are going down. It looks like the regions in Brisbane and the Gold Coast are going up. Around me, houses that were for rent for $400 to $500 last year have been pushed up to $600 to $700 range. $400 to $600, wow. Lack of availability due to landlords cashing in and selling up. Or maybe some landlords were forced to sell. Families living in caravans in the local council park as they have nowhere else to go. Where are you? And this is in Lake Macquarie. Bruno. So many vacant units in Parramatta, Westmead, area of Sydney, New South Wales. Managed to snag a cheap rental at $360, middle of Parramatta. I really don't know how the owners of these vacant places are sleeping at night. And RT thinks they're doing money laundering. Don't care if the prices go up or down. Perhaps. Could be a lot of foreign money just wanting to park it in a safer country. Esther 1. I've got a rental property. My real estate told me I could get $20 a week extra when my tenant moved out. I was surprised as it's in Deception Bay, not a flash area, and my rental income has been pretty much the same for years. Well, they have a shortage of rentals and got the extra $20 a week. My tenants moved out on Friday, and new tenants moved in on this Friday. So yes, there's a shortage of rental properties at the moment. I allow pets, have a big backyard with side access. I think there may be a shortage of these type of properties. Yeah, no, I can see that. Some people don't want pets or animals in it. David, our rents went up $5 a week last year, which given our area and demand in Northern Gold Coast is high. That's fair. Yeah, that's not too bad. I suspect it will go up between $20 and $40 per week in a few months when we have to renew. Well, in the little place we're literally renting just 3 doors up, it went up $10. That they put it up, so we kind of don't care. I think they realize, I think they can see our place isn't finished, it's half demolished, so they're going to up the rent, so I got to get working. Echo, very expensive, not hard to find. Could move to a cheaper, more run-down city if employer lets us not work from the office. Well, yeah, that's an interesting one too. Some of the kickback to working from office, particularly, an Australian billionaire who's saying that business owners who let employees work for the office are parasites. Probably because it's going to affect his commercial office portfolio, perhaps. So, Gold Coast landlord is selling the house, which is fine. It's a free market and exceptional time frame. However, rents are up approximately 100 to 150 more than a year or two ago. Last time I checked, my pay hadn't gone up to that. If this continues, there will be social unrest. I can guarantee you that. Buy it then. Jeremy's going. This has been going on for years on the Gold Coast. I've been looking to buy management rights in the area for 3 years, and every single one has the same trend. Investors selling to owner-occupiers. Want to know what started that? Labor wanted to axe negative gearing. Scared the crap out of investors. Then COVID has government saying renters don't have to pay, and you kick them out. You can't kick them out. And finally, now real estate prices are going crazy. It's the perfect storm. Of course, investors are selling. He's got a good point. You can't blame people who want to get out. Remember all the articles we were reading last year of people that had terrible tenants, just couldn't get out. We need to move at the moment from NetSlave. But I'm finding the agents wanting me to sweeten the deal. Being told a number of times now that offering more in rent will give me a better chance of getting the overpriced property. I don't want to pay $500 a week, let alone offer more for property than would have been $450 a year ago. World's gone flipping mad. Yeah, sadly. That's illegal in New South Wales. What state are you in? Queensland. I thought it was illegal everywhere, but here we are. The agent should be reported. Agent, it's agents, every damn one of them. I didn't think it was illegal. Why should it be? To offer more. So guys, that's the market. Okay, you can pretend that pretend that you've got rules in place so it's illegal. Well, they're gonna pick. Is it illegal for me to offer to pay all of the rent up front in cash? Should that be? This is the problem, guys. Life isn't fair. If they taught you it was at school, well, they were lying to you. I keep telling that to my kids. Is that good parenting or bad parenting? I mean, how many people that have had the whole victim mentality? I'm just reading this because I saw some good memes about it the other day. That made me think about it. The government's never going to come to your rescue, guys. They're never going to come and save you. If anything, they will come after the situation. So you've got to be resilient. But I feel sorry for him. Yogi Bear, I think there are way more empty houses than people want to let on, and it's distorting the market. Kevin just got a rent increase. Same, 10% from Far Queen. Jason, I work for local government and rents did go up for a while, but since a change of CEO and councillors, the rents have gone down to a fairer rate to entice people to stay and work in a small country town. But I do see an increase for those less fortunate to have their rents spike under this current worldly problem that we are facing tyrannical government corporations. We must stand up and unite together. Well, I mean, you're part of the system, mate, if you're working for it. Or you like, what's that TV show where the libertarian works for the local city parks department and wants to bring it all down from the inside? Good luck. It's been mental in Queensland all year. Feb to March, no amount of money, no bribe would secure me a place under $600 to $1,000 a month for a 3 to 4 bed freestanding. Was looking at buying a boat, caravan, or motorhome instead. I did get one after wife and I went full time and Gold Coast wide looking for one. Overpaying a good $150 per week, but I have a roof over our heads. Can relate. Which suburb? What rent is it? I'm in Benoa. $840 for a 4-bedder in Benoa. Oh, it's on the water. So he's paying for the land. Yeah, I mean, that's $840 though for Benoa on the water. I mean, here's the thing. I know people like living on the water and it looks nice and you go out there and have a look at it and, but you can also jump in the car, drive to the beach early in the morning, get yourself a coffee and walk along the beach there. And that's going to be a lot cheaper than the extra. I know, that's how I see it. But, oh, damn. Thankfully, my rent is locked in for the next 4 years. So I have no idea what rent prices are like at the moment. And how do you manage that? Long story short, the owner got effed by her real estate. So she decided to rent it out directly. She also works for the DCJ, so was familiar with long-term fixed rate leases. Oh, good work. Good work. They're probably happier with that. That's the risk you take when you rent out for long-term. Paying $170 a week. Soreness won't be long before it's cheaper to live in New Zealand. Well, yes. 5 sugar daddies on the go, so not worried about rent. We'd better get used to moving back home, guys, even if we have that option. No one can afford to rent, and even if you can, there's 12 to 20 people at every inspection. Can't say that the future looks very bright for many average people. My landlord is selling up, and I've got nowhere to go, so it's back home after 5 years for me. Now, I'm lucky for you. My family of 4 will be homeless in 6 weeks if we don't find new digs. Sounds like you did find him up there, didn't you? But anyway, yeah, he did. He's paying the $840 for on the water. Same person. Greedy landlord wants to go to auction. I guess I can't blame anyone but myself for not being more wealthy. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, guys. Life is unfair sometimes. And honestly, with the family size I have, we are designing our house in such a way that we expect them to have to stay here a bit longer past the normal time. That's what we're planning for. We've already got sister-in-law here. We've got father-in-law. He's in the caravan at the front. So we're kind of planning for that. And what else? A friend of mine is building a new home near Wollongong, New South Wales. He's currently renting a dilapidated dog box near Wollongong for $650 a week. Rural areas are now renting at full Sydney prices from Sunrise. Pitched. I had to pay 5 months in advance for rent plus bond, of course. Well, yeah, you got to. Renting a room in a farm shed. This is one interesting. I asked about this one. I'm renting a room A farm shed, no toilet, shower, hot water, or kitchen facilities in a rural area. Landlord trying to get me to pay $300 a week. And I go, this can't be true. Buy a house. Banks aren't interested in a casual dirt farm employee, unfortunately. $300 a week, no way. Because a house here is half that again. I have pets, which is also a big problem even on farms. Next month, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be sleeping on the beach. Garden hose showers. Getting a little cold this time of year. If you move out, you could easily... how easily could the landlord replace you? I think not so easily. He's being opportunistic and trying to cash in on housing getting expensive. Maybe tell him you pay more if he puts a toilet or a bathroom in. I mean, without a toilet or bathroom or kitchen, that's not even a house. Seriously, you might as well just live in a tent. I mean, you can get a tent for $50. So, there we have it, guys. There are the viewer polls. As we see, it hasn't really changed much. The majority are saying renting is getting very expensive and hard to find. Some are saying it's staying the same, and a minority are saying it's getting cheaper, and it looks like it is definitely location dependent. So, what's the solution to this, guys? Well, honestly, I think we need to... Local government needs to make it easier for housing. They need to make it easier and faster and cheaper for housing. It's too late now. You know, for Tweed to saying, oh, we've got a housing emergency. But then, you know, what have they done to make it easier for developers? To make it easier for land to get divided up and mass housing to get built? Oh, but we don't want that for him. Well, then you're going to have more expensive housing and all the poor people have to move away. You can't have it both ways, guys. You want your little scenic country village lifestyle? Okay, the rich are going to go there and they're going to push out everyone. That's what happens. We still have a population isn't declining as fast as some of these other countries. So, there you go. You don't vote for parties that want to limit development and construction. You know, the greenies, the hipsters. Here, inner city Brisbaneite greenie city councillor influencing a Logan development trying to stop it, which would have housing that's probably half of what his constituents have in value of the housing. Yeah, that's fair, isn't it? And then they claim they're worried about housing affordability. It's just ludicrous. This is the thing. Some of these politicians, they intervene in the market for one thing and then they advocate against the other politically to be the good guys. It's just, people don't look into it to any level of depth. They don't understand it and they don't realize how bullshit it is. So you can't vote for them. But the thing is, some investors will vote for these stupid parties that they're completely ideologically opposed to because they know they will keep the value of their investment. They will reduce the chance of development happening around it so their rents can be higher. Guys, that's one of the problems with our democratic system. People will often only think of their short-term self-interest and they won't think of the bigger picture, you know. But that's for a different topic, a different discussion. So thank you all for joining me for this episode. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're a fan of the channel and want to support us a little bit extra, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon financially. You can sign up for Self-Wealth or Stake, where if you sign up for Self-Wealth, we each get 5 free share trades, where if you join Stake and fund your account, we'll each get 1 of 3 free shares. You can use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or even Aussie Broadband. You can buy merch from Heiser Says. We have pocket squares available, handmade, and people are asking why we only have pocket squares, because it's, I think for the 10,000 subscriber special, I wanted to get some merch, and this was the easiest thing we could make ourselves. Everything else is imported, guys. Trying to get Steins. You know, this one, oh, is it a West German one? Maybe. A lot of them I have my mother brought back from my father from Germany years ago. And most of them are either West German, so that tells you how old they are, or everything's from China. So, anyway, guys, if you also want to support us using Gold Pass or via PayPal, you can use those options as well. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.